This tutorial will cover the topics on homework number 8. Let's start with the first topic on graphing lines using the slope and y-intercept. So the y-intercept is the point in which the graph will cross the y-axis. So you can start graphing a point by drawing a dot on the y-axis on that number line at the value of -4. From there, you can draw other points along the line by following the directions of the slope. All slope have two directions. They have the numerator, which is called the rise or the up or down number, and the denominator, which is called the run or the left and right number. So from starting at this point here, you're going to travel 1 unit up because it's positive. That's a rise. 1 unit up. From there, you're going to travel 2 units to the right because it's positive. 1, 2. So again, 1 unit up and 2 units over. There's your next point. And you can keep following that pattern. Rise 1, run 2. Rise 1, run 2. Rise 1, run 2. You can keep following that pattern to graph your line. On Delta Math, you simply have to click one time on the -4 to create a point, and then from there, it will draw a line. In order to have the line go in the right direction, you count one time the directions of the slope, up 1 and over 2, then click, and your line will be drawn. Submit your answer, and try again. If your slope is not a fraction, then you need to fill in the missing value. So if the number is -2, that's the numerator. The missing value in the denominator is always a 1. Now the slope is how you move, not where you begin. So we're going to begin on the y-axis at -6. From there, we have a rise of -2, or down 2. The run is positive though, so that means to the right. Down 2, right 1. So when we graph using Delta Math, we click one time on -6, and then we move our mouse 2 down and 1 to the right, and click again. A little bit quicker this time. The y-intercept is 4, so we're going to begin at +4. The slope has a rise of 2. Now the denominator is missing, so that's 1 to the right. Every time the denominator is missing, it's 1 to the right. This time, the slope has a negative on the side. The negative can only be used one time. You can either use it with the 3, or you can use it with the 4. But you cannot use it with both. That's not allowed. So most students prefer to give it to the numerator. Because when we started our y-intercept of 3, it's easier to go up or down than it is to figure out going left or right. So -3 is down, and the denominator is +4. -3 is down, and the denominator is +4. So let's use the Delta Math mouse feature. I'm going to click once on 3, and then move my mouse down 3 and right 4. Let's go back and try the second topic now. Graphing lines from equations. Now this time they don't specifically tell you which number is the y-intercept and which number is the slope. So you have to find it yourself from this equation. The y-intercept is always the constant at the end. Although sometimes it could be at the beginning, but it is a constant, a number with no variable attached to it. The slope is the coefficient of x, and if you can't see it, the only invisible number is 1. So I have a negative sign, but I'm going to put a 1 right next to it. Now remember, slope is always a fraction. If the denominator is missing, fill it in with a 1. So let's use our Delta Math mouse pad now, and we're going to click on the y-axis at +2. Now we're going to move down 1 unit and right 1 unit, because the slope is -1, +1. Let's try that again. Identify your important parts. The y-intercept is +1, and the slope for us is 2/3. That's up 2 and right 3. Using your mouse, click once on +1 on the y-axis. Then move up 2 from there and 3 to the right. Last one, y-intercept of 7. Click once on the y-axis at 7, and then rise 1 and run 3. Let's take a look at the third topic, finding the slope graphically. The directions for this say draw a line representing the rise and a line representing the run. State the slope of the line in simplest form. Well, I'm going to use my pen to find 2 perfect corner points. So I like this one and that one. And what Delta Math wants me to do is to click twice to plot this slope triangle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here and here to plot this line, and then I'm going to click once and twice to plot that line. And that will create my rise and run slope triangle. So here we go. First, I'm going to click on this corner point, and then I'm going to go down 2 boxes and click again. Now I'm going to click on that point again, but this time I'm going to move 3 boxes to the right. So I noted that I had a rise of down 2 and a run of +3. That makes my slope -2 over +3. So I'm going to type that here in the slope line box. -2 over +3. Let's try it again. You need to draw 2 short line segments that create a slope triangle. But first, you need to find 2 perfect corner points on your own. I like this one and that one. And it looks like I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and left 1, 2, 3. Another way I could have drawn it is up 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1, 2, 3. Rise 4, run 3. The first time I did it, I went -4, but I also went -3. And both of these are actually the same number, because 2 negatives make a positive. So now I'm going to draw it with my mouse pad. I'm going to click once here and go up, and click once there and go over. Now I'm going to type 4/3 in my answer box. So on this activity, they ask you to draw the slope triangle. But on the next activity, they ask you to actually write the y equals mx plus b equation. So I do need to do the same thing, which is find the slope between any 2 points. Right, there's our slope triangles, and they're always the same size. And then I need to find this special number, the point where we cross the y-axis. It doesn't matter whether you find the y-intercept first or the slope, as long as when you're done, the slope number is timesing the x. So I'm going to start with my y-intercept because it's the easiest number to find. So the y-intercept is -8. So I'm going to type down here in my answer box, y equals -8. I'm going to get that out of the way first. Now I'm going to calculate my slope between any 2 of these points. Now the closer the points are, the less reducing you need to do. So I'm going to choose these 2 points because it's easy for you to see. And let me zoom in so you can easily see how I'm counting the boxes. 1, 2, 3 boxes in the up direction. 1, 2 boxes in the right direction. So that gives me a slope of a rise of 3 and a run of 2. A rise of 3 and a run of 2. So when I type that into my equation down here, I'm going to write plus 3 over 2, and I need an x on the end. Let's try another one. Okay, for this equation, I see a y-intercept down here at -4, and then I see a slope of up 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1. Don't forget slope gets an x. Now this can actually be written simpler. So 2 divided by 1 is 2, so I could write this sentence. Or if I'd like, I could reverse the order and put my slope in the front and my y-intercept at the end. This is acceptable. This is also acceptable. I think the y-intercept is easiest to find first, so I'm going to type my equation with my y-intercept listed first. So y equals -4 plus 2x. Let's try this one more time. This time my y-intercept is -1, right there. And my slope is down 1, down 2, down 3, down 4. Down 4. And then over 1, 2, positive 3. Don't forget, slope is the coefficient of x, so you need to write an x at the end of that sentence. So for us, our equation is y equals -1 minus 4/3 x. Okay, let's take a look at the last two topics. Solving equations with decimals and fractions. So you're going to need a calculator for this part. Locate your variable and remove all of the numbers around it by using inverse operations. So me first here, I'm going to add 1.5 to both sides, giving me -y over 0.5. And when I use my calculator to combine those, I get -7.6. Now I'm going to get rid of dividing by a -0.5. I do that by multiplying both sides of the equation by -0.5. That gets my y by itself. I use my calculator. -7.6 times -0.5. And I got positive 3.8. Let's try it again. I'm going to add 2.4 to both sides. -7 plus 2.4 is -4.6. And now I'm going to multiply both sides by 0.5. And I get -2.3. Oops, 2.3. In this question, I'm going to subtract 3.4 from both sides and then divide by 2.9. I think you're ready to look at the final lesson. And for this lesson, you're still going to clear your constants the same as you did before. I'm going to add 10 to both sides, giving me 44 is equal to -2/3 times z. Now this is the part that gets tricky. Some kids like to divide by fractions. I don't. So instead of dividing by -2/3, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, -3/2. And when I do that, my z will be by itself. -3/2 times 44, use a calculator. You're going to get -66. Again, clear your constant first, so add 2 to both sides. And then to clear a coefficient that's a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. You multiply by the reciprocal. You flip it over, and you'll get your variable by itself. Good luck!